Hello worldies and welcome back to my naughty little channel. I hope you are all feeling the vibes today. Happy February. I am so excited to be recording this video for you all. I want to welcome all of my new subscribers to the channel. I am so happy to see so many new lovely worldies joining the gang and just coming over to build and share your own stories and experiences and interact with each other down in the comments. Today, I'd like to do maybe some housekeeping. I want to talk about what this channel is all about, and I want to give you one of the key things that I notice sets apart people who are able to effectively social climb versus people who stay stagnant and build resentment because of having big dreams that they're not able to accomplish. So I'll paint a picture for you briefly. If you went to public school or private school, or if you were homeschooled, if you did any sort of education where you learned about the planets, you learned about the solar system, there's a good chance that you may have seen one of these types of videos. You can find them on YouTube on this platform where it will show you like the relative size of different planets, of planet Earth and, all of the other planets and galaxies and stars all the way out far. And I remember the first time that I saw a video like that. If you're imagining you as a person in your body, and then you're on your device and you click on this video and you watch it, if you've already seen it or if you're going to see it after this video, thinking about how small physically you are compared to the size of the planet, the size of your country, the size of your hemisphere, the size of your galaxy, the size of the sun. I think that as small as we can feel when we think about and when we imagine ourselves relatively in size, to the entire universe, what if you were to think of yourself, to think of your inner world as its own galaxy, as its own world, its own universe? I notice that the types of people who stay stagnant, the people who are the losers, the certified haters, certified losers, they're people who have a tendency to shut down their own pleasure, their own desires, their own goals, and just the things that make them feel self-actualized. They're still stuck lower on, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They're down at, just base physiological, they just need safety, like physical safety. That's where they're still at. They're at their very base needs. They're not yet to the point where they're thinking about fulfillment. They're not able to dream. They're not able to hope. A lot of the people, I think that there are just two different types of people, where some people, they believe that dreams don't come true, so they never dream. And then I think there are people who believe that, they are worthy. They are maybe just a speck, relatively in the size of the universe, but the desires of their heart, the thoughts of their mind, the feelings that they experience going through their body, the conclusions that they're coming to, the ways in which they want to impact the world are significant enough, and they're valid enough, and they're important enough that they get prioritized. For some people, it can just be a lack of capacity. But I think that at another point, there is an internal wiring. There's an internal framework that we're all running on for what we subconsciously believe about the world, about our interactions with other people, what we believe about our hopes, our dreams, our aspirations. I am an avid journaler. Like, I am the type of person where I just think it's such an effective and impactful tool. You know, I think that if you've never tried it, that's one of the things that I always just give to any person of any age. Just like say at any point, if anybody were to ask me advice, is, think of yourself as being worthy enough of, like, so you're going to you're going to watch my video. You're going to watch another creator's video. You're going to comment and engage and boost them in the algorithm. You're going to heart, you're going to love, you're going to share, you're going to, do all of the things. You're going to go to your job and build somebody else's dream. You're going to take care of everybody in your life. You're going to go build up everybody else. But within 24 hours in a day, you don't feel like you are like big enough, you're not significant enough in the size of the universe just because the sun exists, like some random arbitrary numbers of, oh, I am 1,000, well, actually probably 6,500 billion times smaller than the sun, some wicked, crazy large number. But that's just an arbitrary number. Like, so because of that random determining fact, like this random factor that you can't control, this predetermined thing that, I didn't make happen. I don't believe personally that I made the sun, like not me myself. So like that's outside of my control how big the sun is. And so I can't dream. I'm not worthy enough of taking time to write about my dreams, my goals, my aspirations. Like so many people, I think that outside of an academic setting, goal setting and accomplishment and achievement becomes something that I think only losers leave in school. Like when you become an adult, it becomes your job to decide, what life do you want to live? What path do you want to be on? Where do you want to go? What rooms do you want to be in? Who do you want to spend time with? Who do you want to come into contact with? Who do you want to see on your algorithm? Like, what is this life that you're working towards? So many people just feel like they're a victim of circumstance. Like they're just in this rat race, like they're just stuck there. And I think that the only way that you can feel like that is if you look at yourself and you just think that, other people get that, but not you. I think that there is a level of audacity that you have to have, and a lot of people will take it as arrogance when they see you. Their level of self-love, self-esteem is so low. The level of investment that they put, like the way that they prioritize things in their life. Like let's say they have 20 priorities that they have to, tend to within a week. The ones that really hit at the core of nourishing their spirit, nourishing their future self, helping them become a more fulfilled and happier adult, a more well-adjusted, physically, spiritually, financially, all of the different areas, just being fit and accountable to yourself, being at this level of, wow, I'm doing it. So many people are just they feel as though other people, I don't know, they're more so willing to go to the other person who is disciplined, the other person who does sit there and have these wins in every area of their life periodically, and they continue to feel like a winner. They go and win and win and win some more. They win in this area and they win in that area, and they're not winning against other people necessarily. They're not competing in a hierarchy sense. They're more so competing with the version of themselves that was complacent, the version of themselves that was stagnant and felt as though, I am just going to be a side character in my own life. I'm not, I'm such and such. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not, famous. I'm not from this family. I'm not this person. I'm just this random person. So anything that's in my heart, anything that's on my mind, anything that I feel, think, want to share, all of those things are just insignificant because I am just this, you know, I'm just a person. I'm just Felicia. I'm just Joe Schmo. I'm just a random. And I think that when people, that's like, I can't imagine feeling that way for like decades upon decades. Like, imagine you're just living this boring little life and you never do anything too crazy. You know, you never take any risks. You never, color outside the lines a little bit. You just truck along, you just very much survival mode. And you just do that. Like, that sounds so excruciating. Me personally, I need thrill. I need adventure. I need variety. I need to be around other people who feel lit up by their passions and their desires. And it feeds me so much. It nourishes me when I work on my hobbies, when I set these personal goals to myself that nobody else really is aware of. And I just check them off. Sometimes I share them, with a set of girlfriends if it like is pertaining to, like a common theme that we're all interested in, or a certain group, or, but I think that there is something to be said for not having to share with anybody. And excuse me, it is the season where people are getting, just slightly stuffy. So I'm getting over something right now. So if my audio is weird, I really apologize for that. I hope it's not too bad. But it really is influential on your social climbing journey to really think about these little things that are actually ginormous things. A lot of people, when it comes to social climbing, they're so focused on maybe dating, marriage, relationship, maybe career, maybe just aesthetics. It's got to be this whole all-encompassing thing. And I think that this mindset is what even allows you to feel worthy of setting a beauty goal. Because I think that in the world we live in, we use a lot of language, and we're all socialized just in general to view anything that is about girls or about women as kind of frivolous, kind of like extra, kind of doing too much, kind of crazy, kind of like, like, ew, being a girl, kind of wimpy. And I think that when we are socialized in this way, we start to build this culture where we shame each other for rest, for pleasure, for desire, for dreaming, for hope, for fun, for play, for all of these things that the world really needs. And I think that the people who are, sometimes they're just, that, thinking like that, I think it ages you to just be so jaded and so bitter so young. I think there's a different type of mindset when you are, what's a good word to use? I want to say aware, when you're strategic, when, there's a way to be strategic that, doesn't require you to be self-sacrificing or sacrifice your boundaries of the person that you want to be. I do think that even outside of, good girl syndrome, like getting rid of good girl syndrome, nice girl syndrome, outside of getting rid of that, there is this sense of you are just your own individual. So whatever it is that you just want, whether it's trendy, whether it's not trendy, whether it's in or not, or people have this to say about it or that to say about it, I think that you're going to come across people where your energy flows between you very easily, very peacefully, because you're both on this upward trajectory towards accomplishing your social climbing goals. And you're both on this sense of feeling like you have a vision, you can see something for the future, you have an ability to see things before they materialize, before you can touch them. You can think about them, you can conceptualize them, you can feel worthy of them, you can smell everything in that thing, that desire. You can smell your desire. You can almost feel, you can almost taste it. And I feel as though there are many people who sometimes people think that things are just by luck or just by chance. And I definitely think that many people are lucky, and it is a blessing to be lucky. However, I think that sometimes some people are just a little bit too defeatist. You got to just create your own luck sometimes. I think I'll say this, for example, I think that there are a lot of people who, when it comes to social climbing, one type of goal that we seem to, I think, collectively be slightly okay with is financial social climbing. Like, okay, we all have to survive and pay bills, so it's like acceptable to want to make money. It may not necessarily be acceptable societally to want to be skinny or to want to be light skinned or to want to have a looser texture of hair. Think about all of these isms. Think about all of these hierarchies and these traumas that people are projecting onto people. People are feeling a sense of rejection when you want some sort of lifestyle, some sort of feature, some sort of beauty, some sort of privilege, something that feels out of reach for them, even if it's a sense of mental peace. You can see this amongst women where I think we can just get very divisive, where it's like, well, there's this type of woman, and then there's this type of woman, and then there's that type of woman. And I think that a video, a concept that I want to do its own separate video. I've already spoken to somebody saying that I'm going to record this, one of my subscribers. Hello, Miss Magic, but I'm very excited to talk about how I think some women, they are not centering their own selves enough. And you know what? Maybe we should talk about it in this video. Maybe it's time. You need to center your own self in your life instead of being like, I hate to say it, but a lot of unambiguous dark-skinned Black women, a lot of women who feel like they're at the bottom of society, dusty types of women, beluga whale types of women, they feel as though they are not worthy of centering their own desires and dreams. And so instead they center the male gaze. They center dusty men. And so that's why, they center so many conversations of the isms around dating, marriage, children. That's why they're so obsessed with the desire, the outcomes that women who they feel they are less desirable than experience. They want to know, how did it turn out for the pretty girl? Nobody can, like, I'm not even gonna lie. What I think is so interesting is, like, I noticed this trend where, like, I just now saw an interview. I want to say it was one of the Williams tennis sisters and her husband doing an interview. And then I was also thinking about Precious, and I know she's married to some white guy or whatever. And then I was thinking about, like, other women like Cardi B, other women like Sierra, which I'm going to put the two of them in the same category as being like two different exotical women. I noticed that, like, for a lot of women who feel they're at the bottom of society, when they see a woman that they see themselves in more so, like the girl who played Precious, like a Venus or Serena Williams, once that girl basically gets finally this elusive, like, experience of being chosen by some guy, some white guy or whatever, she centers more so achieving goals in her love life than achieving health goals. It's like, it's fine if I have 7 chins, if I have some dusty man to love all my chins. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, so many people, they're so much like centering how they want to look and live their life and everything around just this other mere mortal person. And I think that is really unhealthy to operate like that, to feel as though you give the best parts of yourself away instead of investing back into yourself with those beautiful gifts that you have to water and nurture yourself so that you can grow and blossom further, to be able to better and more easily and more, warmly and brightly touch the lives of those that you care for, that you come across. And, if there are any vulnerable populations that you're passionate about helping or anything like that, when you just feel as though the best of myself that I will ever, have or be will be for someone else. I think that that is, and me, I think that this is why you have this trope of people who mock like that old, like childless woman type of stereotype. A lot of times people are like, because you see so many people who are like, well, they have this belief that, the best of me that I will ever have, will go to him or will go to my kids, or like I'll better this for once I get time, once I eventually down the line get, a moment to prioritize that, once I'm done, fulfilling all of these responsibilities to this person and that person, then at some point I think we'll circle back to that. I think that that puts you in the spectator role in this movie of life. You have these people who are out here living as main characters in every town, in every workplace, in every scenario, at every event. And I don't think that there is such a thing as this hierarchy where there is one queen bee. I do have to speak about this. I don't know if I'm going to like pull up a specific comment, but I do know that recently I've gotten comments speaking in regards to my friendship videos that I've spoken about how pretty women sometimes can struggle with this area. And I strongly disagree that friend groups only work if there's like an alpha or a superior. I don't really think that that's necessarily the case with women. I will say that I think that that's definitely the case with men, because I think that a lot of men do kind of need one man to be the leader of the pack for them to all go experience amongst other men their chance to maybe be submissive to another man, to, what this other guy is telling them to do, even if it's a friend, even if it's, the friend group leader, the dad of the friend group or whatever. I think people still sort of submit to this person and give them that type of role. But I think that amongst women, I think when you think of any sort of matriarchal type of framework, there's a lot more collaboration. There's a lot more like cyclical nature of like pouring into, like I pour into you and then that spills over to the next girl and to the next girl, or I should say woman, because I'm a woman and I know that according to my analytics over here, we are women for the most part. So, there is very much that can be said for grabbing your life by the horns, essentially, and saying, you know what, I'm going to steer this thing where I decide to. Like, I feel like you're not a little girl anymore. You're grown. Even if you're on the younger side, you're grown. You still have largely, even if you don't have grown responsibilities, like if you have your pretty privilege and you're benefiting from this and that and whatnot, so maybe you're not having to deal with as much adult responsibility. Maybe you have people or situations that are helping making your life easier in certain ways. You do still have grown freedom. You still do have, the grown agency to roam this world and to decide, like, who, you don't have to ask permission before you read a certain book. I don't, it feels so profound to me, but I think that sometimes I talk to certain people. I know that the people who resonate on this channel, they understand what I'm saying, whether it's your hobby, whether it's a book, whether it's watching a movie and feeling like you're seeing a connection, whether it's your spirituality, whether it's your diet, whether it's your workout, whether it's your journaling for your mental health, whatever it is. I think that there is something that as a woman we can create within ourselves in our solitude that's like really sacred, this really potent energy that we can use to create really honestly anything. And I think if you're going to use that energy to create for your job, create for your children, create for, even social media, create for yourself, create these experiences that bring you more joy, more beauty, more pleasure, fulfill your desires, understand that your goals, they're worthy of being achieved. And there is this energy that, when you get there, like, it just kind of makes you steadfast in all of the chaos of what's going on in the world. You're not sitting there. It's harder. It's hard to triangulate somebody who's like really busy fulfilling their own goals. A lot of people, they're easily manipulated. They're easily rage baited, with the women who are out here just being losers, who are not having this very extremely crucial mentality, that energy that they are, since they're not going into this sacred feminine sanctuary. And like literally, as a woman, you are a creator. Like, you can create a new look. Like, there are times that I look at myself and I'm like, you can do what you want. Like, you are your own canvas as far as like, if you want to take a trip, you want to just move, like, who's stopping you? Like, why? Like, I think only the limitations that you really place on yourself, and then maybe legality. There are not too many limitations besides your own mindset and you feeling as though, it's not for me, it's for thee, it's for you over there. When you're an exotical, you're going to be experiencing women who have this really stalkerish, this really creepy type of energy with you, where the thing that's making them hyperfixate on you, the thing that may be making them mistreat you, dismiss you, maybe even try to bully you, exclude you, reject you, anything like that. These women, where they're carrying this energy like they have the weight of the world on their shoulders, like they feel like they're at the bottom of society, and they complain about like I said earlier in this video, like, you at a certain point you just have to help yourself, like. Or is that what I said? I know I said something to that effect. Like, you gotta help yourself at a certain point. Like, if you really feel like XYZ is limiting you that much, like, get the fuck up and fix it, bro. Like, fix it. Like, just fix it. Like, me personally, I'm the type of person where I can vocalize things to myself. I can write it down to myself. And other people, I don't even tell other people because when I was younger, people would not completely understand the power that I feel as though I possess to be able to bring things that I say I want, command it, and make it happen. Even if it's just like weight loss, like, that's such a basic thing. Like, why? It's like, I think there are people who, like, I don't feel like I'm better than anybody else because I didn't use like a GLP-1 or anything. I don't have any like beef for that. Like, because guess what? You could get the GLP-1 and you still won't be a hater sometimes on the person who didn't use that and they were able to achieve it maybe through their hard work. But the person, guess what, who's probably really hating on all of us is the bitch who's still fat. Like, that's who's really hating. Like, I'm not concerned about the person who took the shortened route. Like, when you start to think of your time and your energy as precious, that's something in your social climbing journey is like, oh, my time is better spent, cultivating this skill, cultivating, this understanding of this concept, or engaging in this environment, something like that, that's where my time is best spent. There are certain jobs in the world that I always say, like, or I think of, and I have this concept from other people as well, of feeling that it's such a beauty that some other people want to do certain jobs because it's shit that it's like, well, damn, if it was up to me, that shit wouldn't get done. Like that meme that said, if God don't do it, it won't get done. That's how I feel about certain things. Like my energy, like oh, so you tell me that somebody needs to do some deep sea fish and water shit that I don't know how to do, and I'm the only person that y'all are saying can do it, and my journal's right there. Fuck all of y'all. I'm gonna go journal. Like I'm not just, if God, I'm not God. Like if God don't do it, it's not gonna get done. Like the thing that's gonna get done with me are the things that I want to do. Like, and that's kind of nothing more, nothing less. Like, I mean, I can't completely say that because it's like, yeah, of course, like we all have to make sacrifices and have adult responsibility and whatnot to a certain degree. But I don't know. I just feel like, why can you not mold yourself and mold your life? I think that if you think about, if you've ever been, in contact with somebody who's like extremely manipulative, think about how much they sit there and play and move and like kind of shape and form, like mold other people. I think that when you understand that that type of, maybe for negativity or for a bad reason, that type of energy exists out in the world, people who can manipulate for power and greed and control. Like there's also a neutral connotation. Well, no, the word manipulate has a negative connotation, but there's another form of the word. That word can also mean something that is neutral in the sense, simply just to move, to to manipulate, to like pick up your shirt and like pull it down your shoulder and pull it back up or wiggle it or flap it out. That's, you're manipulating something right now. You can, if you see how manipulative people can be, think about using that energy. Think about if you were to use all the tactics that somebody used to manipulate in a negative and a malicious sense, in a positive sense, for your desires and your pleasure, and to nourish and fulfill you and allow you to bloom out into a better person and do whatever it was that you were called to do. If you believe that there's a calling on your life or not, or if you feel like you are just the call, you're the person, you decide what call you want to pick up. Maybe you feel like things call you, maybe you feel like you're the caller, whatever that is, just deciding that this is the type of life that I want to live. Like you deserve that. You're going to be that type of person who's glowing and who is magnetic and who unfortunately is going to be the object of desire and obsession. And you're going to be the desire of people wanting to humble you, people wanting to belittle you, people wanting to project onto you. For every one person who feels blessed, there's another person who feels unlucky. For every one person who feels optimistic, there's another person who feels pessimistic. For every person who feels skinny and snatched, there's another person who feels like they're having the bubble guts and they're fighting for their lives and they feel large and round and they feel like they sweat bacon grease. Like for every person who feels as though they're God's favorite, they feel as though they have, a personal connection to either something higher than themselves. For every person who feels like that, there are also people who relate and resonate with the concept and like the framework of a higher power, but they feel as though God is forsaking them. God hates them. God forgot about them. This is not a religious channel. I'm not religious either. I was just thinking to myself the other day, I was like, wow, I, I would literally be willing to bet $3 billion that I never became religious in this lifetime again. But that's just what it is. If I change my mind one day, that's what that is. But in general, just something higher than yourself, even if that thing bigger than yourself is science, is psychology, even if you're trying to psychologically hack your way into being more productive, being a higher achiever, being more fulfilled, more happy, more healthy, more beautiful, whatever that is, because that can be a higher power science in a sense. If it's spirituality, if it's the universe and all that, goo goo gaga stuff. whatever it is that grounds you, I think you should use that as a catalyst along your journey towards achieving those things that you want and that you desire. Because once you have decided that you're worthy of those desires and that you can conceptualize and you can see and taste and touch and smell and believe that you're worthy of actually having them, you are able to actually grow, you know, into this version of yourself that you want to be and grow into that life. Because me personally, I think that whatever it is you want it because somewhere in another timeline you have it. It's possible. Like, I don't know, maybe not all this crazy stuff. Like, I don't know how deep it goes, but I do think to a certain extent that that is the case. And when I think about that, I'm like, okay, so if that is possible, you know, everything that I've achieved, whether it's me seeing myself in a new state, going to live there, then, oh my God, now I live there. Me seeing myself at a new job, and then, oh my God, now I work there. Me seeing myself, you know, maybe you're apartment searching or whatever, and you find a listing and you're like, oh wow, like, oh, that kind of resonates with, I feel like that's my place or whatever. That is a real thing sometimes for people where they just know what it is they want, and they believe that it's possible. They believe that they're worthy of it. They're not a loser. They're not a hater on the other people. Like, why people are out here going to the moon to do random shit? Like, why can you not, like, learn a couple languages? Why can you not, like, lose the weight? Why can you not, you know, get really good at this hobby or this sport? Why can you not go to this event? Why can you not, you know, travel to this country? Why, like, I just feel like sometimes people are making these ridiculous excuses for themselves, and they're not looking in the mirror to how much of a loser it makes them. Like, I think there is something to be said, even little things like doom scrolling. When you think about the type of aura that the person who doom scrolls for hours and hours and hours on end has, or maybe the aura that they lack, versus the person who in that same time, you know, they have all of these different apps for working on sharpening your vocabulary, reading a damn book on your phone, listening to a podcast, you know, even engaging positively, just learning something, doing something that's positive and making you grow. Like, so many people, they're blaming capitalism, they're blaming racism, they're blaming the white man, they're blaming everybody instead of their lazy fucking ass. Like, you could literally be making more, like, a lot, like, for example, if you are the type of person where you are socially climbing, maybe you're around people who financially they just kind of like feel like everything is fucked and it's always going to be like that, and they see you stacking, they see you with your you know, accomplishments, your milestones that you're hitting, and they're just like, how are you doing that? Maybe you're having a level of stability, maybe you're building a nest egg, maybe you have retirement funds, maybe you have stocks, bonds, portfolio type of situation, whatever that is. This knowledge that you have, a lot of people, they're too arrogant. That's another thing about losers. They're too arrogant to admit that they're not the expert on everything. They just feel like they just state certain things as fact. And I think that without having a deep level of coming into contact and dedicating time and into something, like, you're not the don't ask me shit about a penguin. I don't fucking know. I don't know anything about penguins. I'm not, and like, anything about a penguin, I'm just gonna be like, I don't know. You should probably like ask the penguin people. Like, if I know somebody who they're like a penguin person, like their special interest is penguins, I'm not saying that I'm gonna take everything they say as like word or bond, and like I'm not going to check into it or anything like that, but it's okay to allow that person to be the authority on something. Sometimes it's how you grow. You know, even if it's a child who is neurodivergent, you know, sometimes I'll meet kids or I'll see kids online or whatever, and they have special interests. This kid may know more about trains than I ever have felt I'd possibly have the capacity to learn about trains. And so if I want to learn something about trains, I'm not going to sit there and be hella arrogant like, oh, but you're a kid. I don't want to hear shit that you have to say about trains just because I don't want to learn from a child. I don't like the author. I don't like the narrator. I'm the type of person where I feel like I need what I need. I need the knowledge. I need the skills. I need to have the um, the things that I want for real. Like when it comes to social climbing, I think it's weird that, I think that for some reason, I feel as though social climbing is looked at as like this frivolous or this feminine, like kind of immature type of thing, when it's like social climbing literally as a beautiful woman who's dealing with hypervisibility, that is going to be your meal ticket, that is going to be your security, that's going to be your stability, your plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's going to be what works for you, what gives you this sense of peace and security, because everybody sees you, everybody wants to be you, everybody wants to touch you, everybody wants to compare themselves to you, especially other women. Like, I think that I've been recently learning and swapping stories with other women, and it's weird to find out that other women are experiencing feeling as though they're being dissected by male-centered pick-me-shas, basically being reduced to an object of male desire. I can't be Keisha anymore. Now I'm just a preference. I'm just somebody who gets some random man's like pee harder faster, like my identity. Because you're not even saying that like when you're saying that they prefer or they're more responsive to or they treat it better, like that's the whole thing about being an exotical, about being a preference is, all these male-centered women, they're so mad at you for what niggas want to do, like, and I'm probably not even supposed to say that word on YouTube, but it's like, I don't care. Like, I don't give a fuck at this point, because why is that my fault? Why is it her fault? Why is it any other girl's fault if some man deserves to if a man deserves to simp or pedestalize over some girl or whatever? Why is that? Like, why are you making that your problem as another woman? And I would say also the same thing exists for men who like have this weird hatred for women, or they feel envious of women who are able to social climb in the ways that they're able to and the benefits that they're able to get, or feeling as though somebody is used to certain treatment. Men and women want to humble exoticals and preferences, and it's so weird because it's like, what happened to like getting to know someone or just trying to figure out their name and like their qualities, their traits, their hobbies, like the things that light them up? You're literally like just looking at exoticals, like men and women who feel like they're at the bottom of society. Either they want to date or create us, and they look at us and they're like, oh wow, I bet you've never had an issue or a struggle in this area before. Let me try to add one. Like random things, just trying to make it harder for you. Like there's been videos of women getting harassed when they go into the beauty supply store. Like, oh yeah, I bet you probably don't even have any hair trauma because you're an exotical and your hair looks like that. You probably, your hair is so thick and so long and so beautiful. And oh, you don't have these feelings about the manageability of your hair, or you're benefiting from texturism, or you're benefiting from this or that. So, I feel as though you don't have this trauma yet, or you don't have it enough, or you don't have it as much as I do. So let me sprinkle some trauma on you. You don't have trauma. A lot of people feel as though they pedestalize like celebrities or people who they feel like benefit from the isms, where it's like, well, you benefit from having money, from wealth privilege, you benefit from having status, like, oh, you're a socialite. I feel like, well, I'm not, so I feel like I am outranked by you, and so that makes me entitled to like tell you that you should like go KYS online because I'm mad about your story time video. I'm mad about your get ready with me video. I'm mad about, you talking about your experiences in the Black community. I'm mad that you're like, really? Like, the level of mental instability that is just festering inside of these people that you're walking around next to every day. And it's so weird because it's like, wow, you took all this time examining me, stalking me, trying to humble me, and you're still not self-actualized. You're still not fulfilled. What goals have you set and achieved lately? Like, you're literally over here like, imagine not having your own goals so much, so bad, and being so deeply impacted by that you get to the point where you're examining the next person's goals and trying to basically hold them up to this imaginary ruler that only you get to hold. Only you get to see it. You get to move the goalpost on people's identities, on what people should want, how they should want it, and what they have to do, what they deserve. There's a big thing about being deserving, I think. When you are the type of woman who you're seeing positive representation of you, you're feeling more deserving. But I think that it is really weird to be more so trying to go on a slanderous smear campaign of another phenotype of woman in order to try to improve your collective image. Like, that's what dusty, unambiguous, dark-skinned Black women do. Like, that's unfortunately what happens. Instead of because they're dusty, like, if they were not dusty, they really honestly wouldn't care. They wouldn't be sitting there in a pile of dust, just like looking up at all of the people living their lives and being like, "Ooh, curse you over there, I have a scarcity mindset." And it's like, I can't be great because you're over there being great. Like, I need to tear you down so that I can feel better. And I think that a lot of people, you can tell that they don't, like, when I have haters that come in my comment section, and even some of my audience, some of my worldviews, you guys have experienced this in real life, where you learned, like, you've been subtly conditioned by people to not bring up your pretty struggles, your pretty problems, your pretty PTSD. There are a lot of people who they just kind of feel like, yeah, we get it. Like, we get it, you're smart. We get it, you're funny. We get it, you're charming. We get it. Oh my God, we get it, your ass is fat. We get it, you have no waist. We get it. Like, we get it. Like, please shut the fuck up now. Like, you want to be happy too. Like, you have enough. And I think that just makes you a loser. And I think that this mentality makes you a loser. Like, looking at the next girl, grading her on a rubric on basically, like, if she is more preferred by some imaginary man, and then reducing her to that, and then basically developing this whole social strategy where this girl is your op and she doesn't even know it, because you now feel threatened by her visibility. You feel threatened by her having a voice, because you know that if girls like her continue to speak up, they're going to have a lot of things to say about girls like you. I've said this before, that I think that there very much is some sort of, tax that you pay for being the shining bright star, because we do in media get socialized to feel as though we always, when you think of the word jolly, think of jolly and think of snatched. Like, think of those two words and what you're thinking of in the characters. Like, when you think of snatched, one, you might be thinking about like snatching something out of somebody's hand. You may be thinking about something else inappropriate, which, get your mind out of the gutter. We're talking about social climbing. We're not talking about that today. That's over on the Patreon if you're trying to get your freak flag flying and you're trying to talk about 18 plus stuff. So get it together, behave yourself. When you're thinking of snatched, you're thinking more so of being sleek, being cold. You're not necessarily thinking personable, nurturing, warm, kind, nice. Like, nobody's thinking snatched, ooh, so nice, ooh, so kind. Ooh, so innocent, so snatched and innocent, so snatched and deserving the benefit of the doubt. Like that's not really an association that we make. But then think of jolly, like ooh, just so jolly and big and fat, and all those rolls are just so buttery and nice and sweet. And as a fact, those are sweet Hawaiian, or what are those? The King Hawaiian rolls. That's what these jolly rolls are. Like we do have that, and I think that depending on the type of media you've been exposed to, maybe you haven't seen that, but this is a pattern that I've noticed, and I've seen other people pick up on this as well. So I think that it's something to just be aware that you, at that point, you already have that working against you. Like you're not going to good girl or nice girl your way into certain people being less threatened by you or wanting to humble you less. I think that sometimes we think that we have to humble ourselves first. Like I see sometimes pretty girls who just want these very basic, very simple lives. Not saying that that is like less mature or less adult or less or like it's less than another type of life, like a luxury lifestyle. But I think that there is even a luxury in saying, oh yeah, I specifically for myself know myself and I want a slow lifestyle, a simple lifestyle. And it doesn't have anything to do with, being socialized to feel like I have to be small or I have to be a certain type of way to be palatable and to be this and that. Just knowing yourself and learning yourself and working on yourself and achieving things for yourself and watering yourself is going to make you someone, you hear I'm saying self. Every time you're doing, like, it's literally, think of like a piggy bank. That's how you build your self-esteem. Like a lot of women who either have achieved weight loss, they have had a glow up, they've been able to social climb, they've been able to have, a financial, just like overwhelming amount of success and stability that's come in. Maybe their love life is flourishing and thriving. Maybe they're just maybe, they're doing a sport and they're like, oh, I really want to master this type of swing, this type of flip, this type of split, this I talk about language all the time because I think that that's something that especially in America is really kind of like a basic hobby. It's like the most basic thing. Most public libraries have a free learn a second language service that you can use. Most schools, especially if you go to a private school, but public schools as well, have like second languages and whatnot. It's like bilingual pay, like talking to people traveling. You don't want, like, and I don't mean to be like, oh, you're weird if that's not your hobby, that's not anything you want to do, but it's like, even some people, it's like their life that they see, they're like, why would I ever need to speak in another language? Why would I ever have the type of life where I'm going to meet colorful people from rich, diverse backgrounds? Why would I ever be traveling to different places and getting these rich cult, like, oh, it's just something to me. There are these people where they're different. They're walking down a hallway every week, or they're just in this routine. They're on this hamster wheel. They're just running, versus there are other people who want to put their toes into the water, into the sand, into the soil, and really ground themselves, get in tune and say, okay, self, I know what my family wants. I know what my friends want. I know what society wants. I know what my kids want. I know what my man wants. I know what's going on in the show that I'm watching right now. I know what my favorite artist is rumored to be doing right now in the tabloids. But me, as an individual, what do I want? What do I need? What do I love? What do I need to create? What do I need to receive? What do I need to find? And I think that little things, like even doing an exercise a day and understanding those things about yourself, they make you walk different. They make you talk different. Because it's like when you take two people, one is sitting there, They're just in the backseat of their life. They're watching other people take trips. They're watching other people learn skills. They're watching other people make money. They're watching other people look pretty. They're watching other people get snatched. They're watching other people have the life that they want to live and being themselves. They're sitting there and they're like, wow, wow, I don't have that. Yep, I guess it's just not for people like me. Whatever factor it is, they just decide that's not me. They categorize themselves behaviorally as a loser. That is loser behavior, to categorize yourself as a have not perpetually. I have not the beauty. I have not the brains. I have not the social climbing, experience, and achievement. I have not the, the skills and the culture and these beautiful interactions with people across the world. Like, I don't have those. I'm a have not. Other people have it. Like, and this is just my life. Like, when you think about that person, what type of energy, how are they living versus the person who is like, there are no limitations. These people who are thinking, what if every single thing is working out for me? What if I literally can have? What if I deserve? What if I only want it because I should have it? What if I only want it and desire it because I've thought about this? I've meditated, I've prayed, I've read the book, I've gotten the thing. I know, whatever it is. Or even, you don't even have to have this second permission. You don't have to wait until you have a second opinion or whatever, or you've decided that somebody else said it's okay. If you want to learn this skill, this hobby, you want to do this thing, you want to pursue this passion, this dream, hold out this hope for this thing in the world, or for this thing that something that you want to leave on this earth after you go, how you want to be remembered. It makes you a winner. Thinking like that, you're going to move like a winner. Yeah, you can eat this. People joke about like the breakfast of champs, something like what? I'm trying to think, what is that? Let me know down below. Is it like multiple different things, or is it just a saying? Because when I think of the breakfast of champs, when I see in media, it's like a Slim Jim and like a Red Bull or something. But like, maybe that's what works for this other person over here. They're walking around and that's why they're miserable. That's why they hate you. They feel like their body, their mouth deserves Slim Jims. You say to yourself, oh no, you're picky, you're bougie with what you put in your mouth, with what you put in your eyes, as far as what you're going to watch, with what you're going to consume, what you're going to listen to, the words that you allow people to speak to you, the rooms that you stay in, even once respect is no longer being served. Like, there are a lot of people, especially in the Black community, who feel entitled to dehumanizing exoticals, mixed and biracial people, MLS people, people who are multi-generationally mixed. They feel very comfortable saying like, well, we have this card to play as we are the strugglingest, slaverist, ex-slaves, everybody in my sisters, aunties, mammies, whatever, was a slave, and I had the heart. It's in my bones, it's in my DNA, the hardest, harder than anybody else. I win the oppression Olympics. So I have this sense that I'm just this untouchable. I get to say this about anybody or whoever, and I'm always just going to play this Black card, this victim card, this specific Black experience, because if you're an exotical, you know that this community does center the experience of we center women who are Black and Black but look Black but benefit from Black and Black and whatever, having this type of ambiguous experience, benefiting from these isms, having this nuanced experience. And whether it's something that you always had because your family put this self-esteem in you to know that you deserve your desires, or you've had a long time coming and you've been the victim of people in the Black community or people outside of the Black community, even non-Black people can do this to you as well, being jealous of your ambiguity, being jealous of features about you, being jealous of your desirability. And you'll be looking at the people that they're mad desire you over them, and it's like, I don't even want this person to desire me. I didn't ask for this. Like, I don't fucking want this I take them, fucking take them. And then when it's like that, then you're still the bougie, stuck up preference. You're still you'll pass them the nigga, and you're still the bougie, stuck up exotical preference. You're still, gonna have to deal with, okay, if you basically say like, okay, I'm going to go over here and bow out, and I'm not going to date these types of guys. I'm not going to take these types of roles. There's no amount of privilege or whatever to them that you could give up that they're going to feel like, okay, that's enough. Thank you so much. Now I feel like the score is settled. Now I feel like things are even. Now I feel like I'm less like a victim, and like we're on even ground. I feel like you've paid enough retribution for how you were born, for the things that you just have in your heart that you've decided to achieve for yourself. I've been rambling for a while now, but I really think that this is crucial to your social climbing journey. You have to think about which path you want to be on. Do you want to be a loser or not? Do you want to be a loser or a winner? And are you going to do the free thing, which is changing your mindset? Like, you don't have to go to Bath and Body Works to change your mindset. You don't have to wait until you're able to get super good therapy through your insurance to change your mindset a little bit. Like, there are things that if you're not lazy, you can do right now. You could actually get up and do right now. You actually don't have to get up from your bed. Literally, like, so many people are social climbing just going through the app store on their phone. You can go through that app store, and there are so many free things that cost no money, free things in your town, free things in your state, free things everywhere. And even if that's not the case, even if we're not just limiting ourselves to free things, so many women, so many people who are feeling like they are dusty losers at the bottom of society. They're spending all of their money on their vices. They're spending all of their money to be 300 pounds on disgusting food that's not even that good, that leaves their stomach feeling terrible. Like, that type of energy is out there in the world, and you have to just know that's not me. That's not what I want. That you are content with that. That's fine. But I'm going to move this away because all of your decisions are reflecting that. And if you're worldly, you're over here and you're thinking to yourself, like, the life that you want, you're examining your experiences in different environments, different types of settings you've been in, different people you've come across and met, and you're starting to notice a common thread that, wow, a lot of people are really projecting onto me. I feel as though there are these very, maybe you don't know what to call it, but I think that this is one of those things that impact friendship, they impact relationships, and they impact even family, where if one person is a loser and feels like a loser and the other person is not, feels like they're not, unless you're going to have some sort of relationship or friendship where it's kind of just like the person who's being adored and the person who's not, like, maybe you don't want that, like, because that can cross over into obsession. Like, me personally, if I feel like a friend feels like she's dusty, or she feels like unfulfilled, or she feels unworthy or undeserving, I don't think she's a bad person, but I can't be around her anymore, because it's like, just naturally we're going to, like, just our sense of humor, everything is going to be just different. It's not going to match up. She's going to want to doom scroll for hours. I'm going to want to be like, girl, like, I'm going to be doing something else on my phone, and it's going to be like, oh, what are you doing? I'm going to be like journaling. I'm going to be like wanting to work out. I'm going to want to like go here, go there, spend my money in this way or that way. And it's like, I don't think one person has to be everything to you. I think that you are supposed to think that you are worthy, and you are vast and expansive, and you have a whole world inside of you. You are a world, and you deserve to leave the world in the way that you want it to be when you leave here. Whatever those contributions are, they're worthy. Whether it's writing a book, whether it's releasing a product, whether it's starting a business, whether it's volunteering somewhere, whether it's just your damn beauty. Like, people need beautiful things to look at. Like, we devalue these things that we shouldn't. Being playful, like, I think that that's like awesome. Being beautiful, that's awesome. Just being pretty, girly, awesome, and having a great time, that is so amazing. Like, I don't want to be miserable. I can't be miserable and around people who are miserable, because miserable energy is going to fester and grow into like this contempt for people who have, you know, more than the loser has. You know, don't be the loser, because then you see yourself as the loser. You know you're a loser. You're always sitting there waiting to be found out as a loser. Like, I've noticed this when it comes to like with friendship a lot. I noticed this with family dynamics too. Like, I notice with family, sometimes it's like, depending on if it's immediate or extended family, there are these different images to maintain about like who's allowed to know that you're dusty, who's allowed to know that, you know, this is going on. It's like, oh, we got to polish it up for these people or whatever, but over here they know what's going on. Same thing. I think even with friends and other situations. But I feel like I've said all I have to say on this for now. I am really curious to hear what you think about this topic. I really like to talk about things like that and do a really super deep dive and try to explain the different nuance of a situation. So what do you think? Do you feel like you've experienced this as well, where you are noticing that there are people who are just kind of losers, and they see themselves as losers and they move like losers? They don't think anything that they have to say or feel or do or anything is like all that important. They feel like everybody else just wants a little bit too much attention, or they're trying too much, they're taking everything too seriously. Let me know in the comments down below. Until next time, worldies, eyes on the prize.